The views and opinions expressed on the Middle Class VO podcast are solely those of the hosts and guests. Any feelings hurt therein are an unfortunate byproduct of the quest for infotainment. Also, please be reminded that concerted efforts have been made so as not to put anyone's knickers in a twist. Having one's knickers in a twist is not an objective or goal. However, if your knickers are in a twist and it persists for more than 4 hours, please seek out a physician. Moreover, if anyone were to feel besmirched by any of the commentary on the Middle Class VO podcast, it would be purely coincidental. No besmirchment is intended. Please enjoy.
Coming up on the Middle Class VO podcast.
Joe Schmo is the best at this. Joe Schmo also does this. Did you know Joe Schmo voted this way? And they just load you up with facts and numbers.
If you need e-learning, we're just an email away. Corporate narration, tell us what to say. Explainer video, imaging radio, slinging local cars, reading IVR. No, we ain't no stars. This is the Middle Class VO podcast. The Middle Class VO podcast. The Middle Class VO podcast.
Welcome to the Middle Class VO podcast. Kevin Kilpatrick in Cincinnati, Kevin Kilpatrick in Nashville, Bobbi Maxwell is in Cincinnati, and we are so excited to have journalist, author, actor, and former member of the United States House of Representatives, Trey Radel, on the phone with us. Trey, how are you?
I'm doing well. Great to be with you.
Thanks so much. Now, we're here today to talk on the podcast about the political voiceover genre. And so how do you fit into the world of voiceover, Trey?
I have done some voiceover work myself, but primarily I have worked with, been contracted by either political organizations, sometimes campaigns, to do all of the creative and production for radio spots, television spots, and of course anything that runs on digital. And so that includes everything from, it's all of the production, writing the script, coming up with something creative, finding the right VO talent. And typically here in market, I don't, even really in the state of Florida, I don't do any voiceover work here. And so it's incumbent upon me to go find it.
That's great. How does your background lend to that?
I've always been a political animal since growing up in Cincinnati, Ohio. Props to Bobbi. Going back to grade school, I was a news junkie. In high school, I realized I'd become fascinated with politics, especially international stuff. And so I eventually got into politics and media. I mean, just a very quick recap of my career. It basically, anything that has to do with communicating, writing, messaging, I've worked in a lot of the fields. So I was a TV news anchor and reporter. Now living here in Florida, I was a TV news reporter. So I was the idiot standing in the hurricanes when you would be in Tennessee or Ohio watching a local reporter on CNN, Fox, or MSNBC. I was that guy. So I've been a reporter, anchor, hosted political radio. I had advised on campaigns, run a campaign, was in the House. And then since then, I've done anything and everything involved in politics, consulting, the creative aspects, and again, all of those cutting across all mediums, digital, radio, TV, and print.
Tell us more.
Wow. So I'm just guessing here. I'm thinking it's going to be a crazy political year, right, Trey?
Going to be?
It's already started.
Yeah, exactly. That I'm making a joke there because of that. We're already seeing things heat up, obviously. But how does that compare to other presidential election years? What we're facing in the next 14 months?
Well, so while I have my own political philosophies and beliefs, I always know that I can take off my partisan hat and attempt to give non-political, non-partisan assessment, and my jaded assessment is that we are in a really polarizing time. I don't need to tell anyone that. With that comes, God, this sounds even more jaded, people spending a lot of money. And what I mean by that are, of course, the party apparatus will spend money, Republicans, Democrats, and their various organizations that they have underneath their umbrella of a political party is absolutely going to spend millions and millions of dollars. But there's something new, and even in talking about this, to bring in optimism with my being jaded here, if you're a VO talent, there's a lot of work. And it comes through these other organizations that are often referred to as PACs, political action committees, but there are also various forms of those, which may be what are called 501c4s or even 501c3s. While they cannot technically lean political, they can, by IRS, by the way that they work with the IRS, the way they're categorized, they can, quote unquote, educate people. Now, let me give you a little funny anecdote of how educating people works. And so here's what happens. So, and some of it's happening now for voiceover talent or on TV, editors, photographers, everybody gets business with this. Here's how an educational, non-partisan, non-political, my microphone's now dripping with sarcasm, how this works. And it'll go something like this. Hi, IRS. I'm here to form a 501c4 that will educate people about Donald Trump. And if you are educating people on Donald Trump, you can come out and say, Donald Trump kicks puppies. Donald Trump hates babies. And play the sinister music behind it. But what you cannot do in any way is what's called express advocacy. And what that is you are forbidden by the IRS to say, vote for Donald Trump or don't vote for Donald Trump. That's illegal. But you can tell everyone that this man's a, philanderer, hates our country. And now on the other side of that, you can also, quote unquote, educate people and put out an ad that says, Donald Trump is the second coming of Jesus Christ, and everybody should vote for it. Everybody needs to recognize that. But again, you cannot say, go vote for Donald Trump or do not vote for Donald Trump. So these things are happening right now. 501c3s, 501c4s, political action committees, and more are all out there already running ads in digital space and some of it on TV already.
There's the facts.
Trey, you're getting pretty intense there with the mock voiceover. What in your ears makes for, it was dramatic. It was compelling. What in your ears makes for a great political voiceover?
I think a few things have to come with that. First of all, a voiceover actor's an actor. You have to become that person. And that sounds overdramatic. It sounds even a little cheesy, but the reality is in my experience of working with or even watching the best of the best voiceover actors do what they do, they are in the booth, their hands are moving, their facial expressions are changing because you become an actor. And to do that, you got to really get behind what you're doing. There has to be a level of being genuine about it. And so you go from that into the voice itself. Now, look, the voices can be anything. It can be someone who has a certain dialect, a certain accent, anything. It depends on what is being looked for at that moment. But you're looking for just someone who can convey your message in the most effective way possible. And that, again, is going to depend on the personalities and what you want said behind your script. The best of the best are able to do, look, let me give props to Bobbi here. I have worked with and I know Bobbi's range. I've utilized her multiple times because she can do a very warm, a warm sounding commercial to a little humor. I've even utilized her to do there's one commercial in particular that I'm thinking of here that was utilized to do humor but sound genuine. And that's a really fine line that you're walking there. Mm-hmm. And when voiceover actors can do that, that's amazing to me. And I Bobbi also can do with that distinct voice, very intense commercials as well, very intense voiceover projects. So, I think the best of the best can be diverse and can do a wide range of things. But obviously, there's some times where you're going to look for somebody specific, and that may be dependent upon the area of the country that you're working. Again, think Southeast and the Southern accent. Think New York City, or whatever. And so sometimes the perfect person is going to be dependent upon that.
Follow up to that, Trey. How important is the voiceover in the big scheme of things, with script writing, with the production, with your digital and all forms? How important is the voiceover?
They're all equally important. They're all critical. You can have the best voiceover artist in the world voice a total piece of trash script, and that is not effective. And if the script is not effective, nothing is. If you screw up the music in the background, if it doesn't flow with what you're trying to do, it then is a distraction. I mean, it's kind of like watching the TV. You could watch the best TV news anchor in the world deliver something to you that is heavy news, but if that person has coffee on their white shirt or food, a jelly donut on their cheek, you have no idea what they're saying. And that's in the same vein of music. If the music's off, if the script is, and I kind of go back to, this is me getting ultra political now, like the worst types of script I think that are regurgitated every year are what I call 1990s PowerPoint presentations, where it's like, Joe Schmo is the best at this. Joe Schmo also does this. Did you know Joe Schmo voted this way? And they just load you up with facts and numbers and this and that. And the listener and or viewer gets lost. So those are two components, but the voiceover artist, you can have the best script. And if you have a voiceover artist who's like, hi, I just want to tell you about this guy, that he's just really great. And, no passion, no
conviction.
So they're all critical.
Yeah. Trey, you really, really could teach a course to voiceover talent out there. I mean, you'd be perfect. We have our big annual voiceover convention in Atlanta every March, and I could so see you having your own session. It'd be intriguing, that's for sure.
I lived in Atlanta for a while. Fun city. March, I'll mark it down on the calendar.
Yeah, really. So where do the political consultants or the PACs or whatever generally find their VO talent? Kevin and I have a management company in New York, and there is a segment of one of our agents is really into the political thing. So we're going to be getting a lot of auditions that way. How else do they reach out and find the talent?
I and a lot of the people that I work with have utilized the internet's changed the game. The internet, once again, in the voiceover industry, we see how it has literally blown up the business model for every single industry ever. I mean, you could talk about, here's a random fun fact. I grew up in the funeral industry in Cincinnati. The internet, too, has changed the way that you seek prices for something as either morbid or however you want to look at it, as a casket, to, everything. The music industry just absolutely decimated, the movie industry as well. So the voiceover industry, with most of the people that I have worked with, they go digital, the various websites, voices.com, Voice123. You know what else is interesting these days is Fiverr. Fiverr is an ultra cheap place where I swear to God, you can get the absolute most horrible, terrible voiceover artists with the lowest quality stuff that you could even, like, they're recording it on their iPhone while the air conditioning's blasting behind them. But there's also some undiscovered talent, I think, there. And if you find someone, and this goes to me from being jaded to being optimistic. If somebody's listening right now and is trying to break break through and get into the industry, you've had people tell you just don't have the voice for it here or there, but I swear, you never know. You never know what distinct voice you're looking for that may be able to deliver something that just fits, and it can then become a long-term relationship.
Do you think you would find anybody on social media, like through LinkedIn or?
I'm not a huge user of LinkedIn. I'm sure that you could, and with the way that you just embed a reel, your voiceover experience right there. Sure, I think that LinkedIn is a way that you could. I think that just generally speaking, anybody that I know in politics that's doing consulting or whatever, they typically will take some time to sort through the digital world, so the .coms, as I mentioned, and many will also have a relationship with someone that they have worked with in the past or consistently work with.
We're talking about auditions coming up in the next several months. What advice or tips, Trey, could you give to voice talents on landing the jobs when they are auditioning?
Email them every minute of the day and then text them and call. No. Did I get the
That's
job?
how I got hired by Trey.
Yeah, you guys love that, don't you?
Yeah. It's 1:59 in the afternoon. Can you get this to me by 2 or whatever it may be? I need this yesterday. Is the common request? In terms of landing auditions, you just got to be yourself. I would say if you try to be something that you're not, you're not going to go on any blacklist, but you're certainly not going to be utilized by any organization or specific person that works for that organization. Your real has to be you. Make sure that whatever you're doing, you can deliver. And if you can do that, who knows what the future holds. I think sometimes people think that, if I'm going to do something political, I think the immediate misconception is it's got to be sinister as hell. I need to talk in a really evil voice and breathe deep and not even edit out my breath. And anyway, I think that people think that, but the reality is some of the most effective ads are ones where it's just someone talking like normal. I mean, I think that's the same in radio. When I do my radio show, I don't sit here and talk like, hey, Trey Radel here, broadcasting live in downtown. You just talk. You talk with people and you use your normal voice. I do understand that in some voiceovers, you do want to enunciate, punch up words here and there, and you can work with your organization or the consultant, whoever you're working with, to understand what they want. But most of all, it's about just being yourself and just allowing it to flow through you as the voice actor you are. Right.
Do you find it's important that a candidate will want their talent to be the same party they represent?
I mean, I've never known anyone to even ask that question to a voiceover talent. You just want the person who's the best, who can best deliver everything that you need, and that can include the sound of the voice, the intensity or less intensity of the voice, the accent, and I'd go back to the different regions of the United States or world for that matter. But let me go back to being yourself. Maybe if there is a hardcore, I'm going to take shots at both sides here, hardcore liberal voiceover actor, and you go to them to say, I want you to do a commercial on Donald Trump is the best ever. Make America great again. I just don't think, I wonder, whether or not they'd be able to deliver that in the right way. You go to a hardcore conservative voiceover artist, and I want you to profess your love for Bernie Sanders. Tell me how much you love Bernie Sanders in this 30-second spot. It might be a little difficult, but most of all, I've never asked anyone. I don't care what anyone's political background is or their leanings are. I just want someone who can deliver the greatest product and, of course, on time.
There's the facts.
That's great to know, because a big question for political talent is, should my demo be all Republican, or should my demo be all?
Yeah, if you can mix it up, but I mean, look, now my wheels are turning, and I'm just thinking out loud here. I guess one potential issue could be the market. If you're working with an organization, you probably should ask, if you're a voiceover actor, where this is going to air. And in order, again, if you want to keep a solid reputation, if an organization comes to you and says, we want you to do all of these pro-Donald Trump ads, and and we're going to only run them in Florida, but you know that you are doing pro-whatever, Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders ads in certain markets in Florida, you may want to give a heads up. Because could you imagine the same voice? Literally, what first 30 seconds? Because I swear, you listen to some radio stations, and the closer we get to the election itself, you just have back-to-back political ads where literally it's 30 seconds of different, and that'd be pretty hilarious but reflect badly on the voiceover artist if you heard the same voice saying, vote for Donald Trump, vote for whoever the nominee is.
Right.
Trey, between now and the actual election, what time frame will be the apex of political production?
I mean, probably 6 months out, leading right up to the election. I will tell you that when this is from my own experience and consulting and just being in media for so long, in TV, radio, and even print. When 6 months out is when big dollars really start to pour in. I will say, though, maybe it's even 30 out, because the organizations, we're talking about organizations, Democrats and Republicans, liberals and conservative, they're all behind it. And, let's set aside any talking points of, corporate dollars, this or that. Look, everybody's spending, and leading right up to that election, people go absolutely insane. Donors start to, get really pressed for larger checks. The organizations start stepping up and saying, no, we need to do one really big last blast. So 6 months out is when you really start to see the big spending. But that peaks even, maybe 30 days out before the election. And that's just crazy time when everybody's throwing out all sorts of money to get anything and everything they can on air.
Better for voice actors.
Yeah, we love it.
Yes. Me too.
We love you, Trey.
He's awesome.
This is fun.
One of our best episodes ever. I love it.
Yeah. Well, if Bobbi doesn't have anything else, we're going to let you go because we know you're really busy. Journalist, author, actor, and former member of the United States House of Representatives, Trey Radel, has been on with us in the Middle Class VO podcast. Trey, what's next on your schedule?
Well, I will. This is a shameless plug. I just co-authored a book with former Governor George Pataki. He was the governor of New York during 9/11. And so that book's available on Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com right now. It's available digitally for pre-order. It'll be in stores in December, and I'm really proud of it. The book is very emotional, ups and downs, and everything that he saw behind the scenes of 9/11. But to make it relevant, the governor talks about the political fallout ever since 9/11. And the governor, a lot like me, can absolutely remove his Republican hat and just take a look at our world today, where we stand and where things are at. And quite frankly, he then gets into how we can make things better. So that book is called Beyond the Great Divide, How a Nation Became a Neighborhood. That's available now. And other than that, I do radio. I'm always open to doing voiceover work and always looking for the next political consulting gig, which is always a lot of fun as well.
Well, Trey, thank you so much for your time, man. It's been a treat to have you on the Middle Class VO podcast, and we'll be hitting you up again.
Thanks, Trey.
Thank you. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you both so much.
Oh, what a great guest, Bobby. Full of energy, Trey Radel. He has been around the political game for a long time. He has served our country as a House of Representatives member, and he knows all about the world of political VO, and
he does.
Certainly shed a lot of insight.
You know, as I mentioned, I worked with Trey last political season. I had no idea he was that animated. I'd never really listened to his radio show before. It was awesome.
Yeah, and he's based in Fort Myers now, I guess.
Yeah. But it sounds very promising. So if anybody's thought about doing political, sounds like there's some good money in the next year or so.
Yeah, and there's still time to get your ducks in a row, so to speak, because that big apex, as we were talking about, is still to come for the political voiceover world. So get with your coaches, get with your demo producers, and get that stuff ready to go. And you got to start marketing if you're going to be doing that. You got to get the marketing stuff out there really soon if you want to catch this political world of voiceover that is about to be a big freight train running through our industry.
It really is. I'm excited because I've been doing this for a couple of years, and 2020 is going to be massive.
Nice. Well, Bobby, another great job as usual. Looking forward to the next episode of the Middle Class VO podcast. Bobby, where can folks find us?
You can find us just about anywhere. We, of course, are on Podbean. We're on iTunes. We're on... Where else are we on? We're everywhere.
Slippery Pete's platform. Let's see. Podbean, Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
Instagram, yeah.
Yeah, and we were even on another one that my buddy was telling me about, and I'm like, I didn't even know we were on there. So, yeah, we're getting out there. Our footprint is getting bigger, Bobby, out there in the social world.
I love it. Can't wait to see who our next guest is.
Well, Bobby, I hope you have a great rest of the week and break a lip.
We'll talk to you soon.
The Middle Class VO Podcast is a K2 Media Productions production.
All views and opinions expressed are those of the hosts and guests. The McVob jingle was written and produced by Kevin.
Co-produced and performed by Chloe Dolandis.
Additional engineering by Zach Zimmett.
Bobby's hair and makeup by Rebecca Adlita.
Kevin's wardrobe by Slippery Pete's Fashion Emporium.
All previous episodes are available for download on Podbean.
For the Middle Class VO Podcast, I'm Tracy Thibodeau.
I'm Lisa Lou Perry.
Thanks for listening.
And don't miss the next episode of
The Middle Class VO Podcast. The Middle Class VO Podcast.